Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, best regards, and peace be upon us all. Who I respect, the lecturer of English course, Sir Syafa Nabilah, and which I am proud of all my friends. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to say thank you for coming in our presentation today. It's great to see you all. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ouni Putri Ardhani from Class A as a moderator. In this presentation, I was accompanied by wonderful colleagues. That is Hana Syafa Nabilah from Class A and Fitri Jasmine from Class B. In this opportunity, I would like to present about reduced inequalities. First, I will explain to you about description reduced inequalities. Second, I will explain the targets and goals from reduced inequalities. Third, the facts from reduced inequalities. And finally, you will know the challenge, solution, and the opportunities from reduced inequalities. Before we present that today materials, you can watch the video that we will show first. Thank you guys. Happy watching.
Income inequality is a global problem, with the income gap widening between the rich and the poor since the 1990s. Currently, just 8 men own the same wealth as half of the world. SDG 10, Reduce Inequality Within and Among Countries, targets inequality systematically. It promotes the social, economic, and political inclusion of all, irrespective of age, sex, disability, race, ethnicity, origin, religion, or any status. My name is Nelly. I'm an International Business Administration student at RSM. I'm the ambassador of SDG 10, Reduced Inequalities, and I will introduce you to this SDG. Inequality may not only harm economic growth and throat poverty reduction, but may also harm public and political relations through a lack of discourse and lead to less sense of fulfillment and self-worth for minority groups. Inequality keeps people from reaching their full potential in education and their professional career. SDG 10 aims to ensure equal opportunities by eliminating discriminatory laws, policies, and practices, and improving the regulation of global financial institutions. New practices need to be properly implemented to create change. In order to reach equality, wealth and political power need to be equally distributed, and everyone's voices need to be heard. Only through inclusive growth can the whole world prosper. As discussed, inequality can cause individuals to feel like they do not belong to society and reduce self-motivation and self-belief to pursue an education, for example. A low level of education or dropping out of school early continues to influence the opportunities and wages of those individuals and drives further inequality. Michaela Schippers, Professor of Behavior and Performance Management at Rotterdam School of Management, has researched goal setting and the positive impact it has on academic performance. She implemented a goal-setting program for RSM students to reduce inequality and enhance academic performance. In the next video, she will tell us more about how goal setting can positively influence performance and create better life outcomes. In the final video of this learning module, the Dean of Rotterdam School of Management, Professor Stef van de Velde, will discuss the impact that the goal setting program has had on our university. Income inequality.
Okay, as you can see before, we cannot achieve sustainable development if we exclude any part of world population. Please welcome to Fitri Jasmine to read conclusion of the following video.
Sustainable development goals in a country must be reduced because of inequality. This inequality makes sustainable development unattainable because it excludes the detail of activities around the world, as well as inequalities on gender, religion, ethnicity, etc., etc. For example, in terms of gender difference, there is limited access for women in technology such as automotive and electricity. We can achieve equality when we work together.
Okay, thank you,
Continue to
Fitri
moderate.
Jasmine, to the great summary. Well, let's start this presentation from Fitri Jasmine. To Jasmine, time is yours.
Description about reduce inequalities. Reduce inequalities includes into the 17 points set for the Sustainable Development Goals SDG. SDG stand address inequality within and among countries. It calls for nation to reduce inequalities in income as well as thus based on age, sex, disability, race, and ethnicity, origin, religion, or economic, or other status within a country. The goals also address inequalities among countries, include thus relate to representation and calls for the facilitation of orderly and safe migration and mobility of people. Something that needs to be acquitted with a growing inequality in this country, which is one, age, two, sex, three, disability, four, race, five, ethnicity, six, origin, seven, religion, and eight, economy.
Thank you, Jasmine, for explaining the description of reduced inequalities. The next concern is target and goals from reduced inequalities. In this section, will be explained by Hana Syafa Nabilah. To Hana Syafa Nabilah, please welcome.
Thank you to the moderator for the opportunity. And now I will explain the target of the SDGs 10, reduce inequality. First, reduce income inequalities. The description is growth rates of household expenditure or income per capita among the bottom 40% of the population and the total population. Goals by 2030 progressively achieve and sustain income growth of the bottom 40% of the population at a rate higher than national average. Second, promote universal social, economic, and political inclusion. The description, proportion of people living below 50% of median income by sex, age, and persons with disabilities. The goals by 2030 empower and promote the social, economic, and political inclusion of all, irrespective of age, sex, disability, race, ethnicity, origin, religion, or economic or other status. Third, ensure equal opportunities and discrimination. Description, proportion of the population reporting having felt discriminated against or harassed the previous 12 months on the basis of discrimination prohibited under international human rights law. The goals by 2030 ensure equal opportunity and reduce inequalities of outcome, including by eliminating discriminatory laws, policies, and practices, and promoting appropriate legislation, policies, and action in this regard. Fourth, adopt fiscal and social policies that promotes equality. The description, labor share of GDP comprising wages and social protection transfers. The goals, by 2030, adopt policies, especially fiscal, wage, and social protection policies, and progressively achieve greater equality. Fifth, improve regulation of global financial markets and institutions. The description, financial soundness indicator. The goals by 2030, improve the regulation and monitoring of global financial markets and institutions and strengthen the implementation of such regulation. Six, needs representation for developing countries in financial institutions. The description, proportion of members and voting rights of developing countries in international organizations. The goals by 2030 ensure enhanced representation and voice for developing countries in decision making in global international economic and financial institutions in order to deliver more effective, credible, accountable, and legitimate institutions. Seventh, responsible and well-managed migration policies. The description, first, migration recruitment causes. Two, well-planned migration policies. Third, death or disappearance during migration. Fourth, refugee population. Goals by 2030 facilitate orderly, safe, regular, and responsible migration and mobility of people, including through the implementation of planned and well-managed migration policies. 8. A special and differential treatment for developing countries. The description, proportion of tariff lines applied to imports from least developed countries with zero tariff. The goals by 2030 ensure enhanced representation and voice for developing countries in decision making in global international economic and financial institutions. Encourage development assistance and investment in the least developed countries. The description, total resource flows for development by recipients and donor countries and type of flow. The goals by 2030 encourage official development assistance and financial flows, including foreign direct investment to states where the need is greatest, in particular least developed countries, African countries, small island developing states, and landlocked developing countries in accordance with their national plans and programs. Last, reduce transaction causes for migrant remittance. The description, remittance causes as a proportion of the amount remitted. The goals by 2030 reduce to less than 3% the transaction causes for migrant remittance and eliminate remittance corridors with causes higher than 5% across all regions and countries. Thank you. I will take it back to the moderator.
Thank you, Hana, for explaining the targets and goals from reduce inequalities. Okay, guys, that's all the SDGs target and goals must be achieved in 2030 by government. The targets and goals will be easily achieved if the government takes notes of some of the facts underlying these distortions. Guys, fact about reduce inequalities is very important. So, the next discuss, we will talk about the facts of reduce inequalities. This section will be explained by Hana Syafa Nabilah. To Hana Syafa, time is yours.
Okay, thank you to the moderator for the opportunity once again. I will explain the facts from the SDGs 10 reduce inequalities. First, the effects of the pandemic have intensified social exclusion. Among the 18 countries which have data for 2020, two-thirds saw rates of relatively low income increase in 2020. Second, projections suggest that between country inequality rose by 1.2% between 2017 and 2021, the first such increase in a generation. Before the pandemic, inequality was expected to have fallen by 2.6% over the same period. Third, income inequality within countries will also have increased by around 1%. On average, in emerging markets and developing countries, noted the steady decline in this country since the start of the millennium. Roughly 1 in 5 people has experienced discrimination on at least one of the grounds prohibited under international human rights law, such as ethnicity, age, sex, disability, religion, and sexual orientation. If in some countries, women are more than twice as likely as men to experience discrimination on the grounds of sex. 1/3 of persons with disabilities experience discrimination. 6. A decline in the labor share of income from 2014 to 2019 from 54.15 to 52.6% represents upward pressure on inequality. 7. By mid-2021, the number of people forced to flee their countries had grown to a record high of 24.5 million. For every 100,000 people worldwide, 311 are refugees outside their country of origin, up 44% from 216%, 60 per 100,000 people in 2015. 8. Countries in Northern Africa and Western Asia were the largest regional source of refugees, 8.4 million, followed by countries in Sub-Saharan Africa, 6.7 million, and Latin America and the Caribbean, 4.5 million. As of 23 May 2022, more than 6 million people in Ukraine had moved to other countries to escape the conflict, with at least 8 million people displaced inside the country. At 10, in 2021, 5,895 people died fleeing their countries, surpassing pre-pandemic figures and making 2021 the deadliest year on record for migrants since 2017. Thank you. I will take it back to the moderator.
Thank you, Hana, for explaining the facts from previous inequalities. Such a great presentation, Hana. Guys, description, targets, and goals already explained. And the last, we will discuss about challenge, solution, and opportunity. The section will be explained by me. The first point is challenge from reduce inequalities. The first is no SDGs refers explicitly to older person, although age-based discrimination is a serious problem. It is important to recall the right to autonomy and self-determination of older persons. Second, systematic access gaps affect migrants. Reducing inequality means fighting from such as racism, xenophobia, bias, and prejudice, and exploitation. And states should have effective mechanisms for protecting refugees. Third, coordination between different administrative and political levels for facilitating policy implementation is also a challenge in the region. Next. Here's a short video of reduced inequalities that can increase our knowledge of SDGs point 10. Hana kayaknya nggak ada suaranya, Nak.
Tahu, tapi suara kecil. Enggak ada.
Ada tapi gue nggak denger.
Iya. Bentar.
Sustainable Development Goal, reduced inequalities. We cannot achieve sustainable development if we exclude any part of the world's population. Inequalities based on income, sex, age, disability, sexual orientation, race, class, ethnicity, religion, and opportunity continue to persist across the world within and among countries. We cannot achieve sustainable development and make the planet better for all if people are excluded from opportunities, services, and the chance for a better life. What is inequality? Inequality is a lack of equality or fair treatment in the sharing of wealth or opportunities. Examples of this are: locally, in the Philippines, there is limited access of women to non-traditional technical vocational courses such as automotive technology, industrial electrician, building wiring electrician, and others. Besides that, there is low absorption rate of women in the labor market. While the labor force participation rate for males is 82%, it is 50.36% for females. 5% or 4.93 million of the population of the Philippines are Muslims. 60% of the Muslim population said that they are being discriminated by other Filipinos according to their appearance and religious affair. 20% said that they were ruling class, and 30% said that they weren't accepted to jobs because of their religion. Globally, black students are punished more harshly and more frequently than white students of the same offenses. Over 40% of Sikh students who wear turbans or patkas have gone through some form of harassment, either it being hitting, punching, or disrespectful touching of the head. Approximately one-third of the complaints that Sikh students address to school personnel are disregarded and nothing is ever done to solve the issue. These are just a few examples, but it is a major issue that affects every country in the world. Global inequality affects us all, no matter who we are or where we are from. Reducing inequality requires transformative change and greater efforts. Within countries, it is important to empower and promote inclusive social and economic growth. Every country should eliminate discriminatory laws, policies, and practices. We need to ensure that developing countries are better represented in decision-making on global issues so that solutions can be more effective, credible, and accountable. Political, economic, and social policies need to be universal and pay particular attention to the needs of disadvantaged and marginalized communities. We can achieve equality for everyone in this world if we all work together. It can be and should be to ensure a life of dignity for all. Find out more on www.un.org.
Okay, as you can see before, we cannot achieve a sustainable development if we exclude any part of world of population. Please welcome Fitri Jasmine to read a conclusion of following video.
Thank you, moderator. Income inequality is a global problem resulting from social inequality. Reducing inequality and inequality systematical can improve social condition regardless of age, race, gender, origin, ethnicity, religion, or status. This SDG inequality might not only be detrimental to economic growth, but can also harm public and political relations through a lack of knowledge sharing and lead to a lack of respect for many minorities. Thank you.
The next concern is solution. Solution of reduce inequalities. There is one by fair trade fruit at least once a week. Push for second, push for equal pay for substantially similar jobs. Third, invest in finance and technology for developing countries to reduce income inequality. Fourth, support campaigns for equal access to land, clean water, and sanitation for all. Fifth, write to local and national politicians to push for actions. And the last is share the facts to family and friends to encourage actions. Next. And the last discuss is opportunities of reduced inequalities. Opportunities reduce inequalities. There is the first is incorporating civil society better into both implementation and follow-up. Second is involving parliaments increasingly in the discussion of mechanism for the implementation of the 2030 agenda. Third is ensuring a territorial approach to tackle inequalities based on participatory policies for the implementation and management of programs and addressing the needs of remote or marginalized localities. Third is commitment and political will are vital for reducing inequalities. And the last is coordinating stakeholders, political, technical, and social assistance, and different institutional levels, local, subnational, and national, to reduce inequalities in the local policy sphere. Now that was bring us to the end of the presentation today. In brief, the existence of structural inequalities obligates states to act to close the gaps in collaboration with other stakeholders. The religion needs to move closer to a broader concept of equality that admits affirmation action. And finally, I would like to finish this presentation with this motivational quotes from C. Joy Belsi. That unhappiest people in this world are those who care the most about what other people think. That is all from us. Thank you so much for listening our presentation. I hope we have shared will be beneficial for all of us. I would like to apologize if there are any mistakes. I hope you have a nice day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.